All right, so today I will be scripted, which is one of the toughest things for me, but let's see how that goes. Because I like to just run my mouth, but I got blinders on today. So today I want to talk a little bit about natural law. And as it says in the seventh principle, we affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. And so, over the next few Sundays I'm up here, I'm going to try to go through one of these. I'll just go through the list of them, right? Just so you got an idea what it is. Again, these are natural laws, and I always say these are not man-made law. Like a man-made law is right turn on red. That's in Texas. If you do that in New York, it'll be an accident because that's not the law there. So that's man-made laws. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about laws that work here, there, everywhere. For lack of a better word, everywhere, right? So here are some of them. And then there are some sub-laws that go under these as well, but these are like the main ones. So the law of divine oneness. There's a law of vibration. There's a law of action. There's a law of correspondence. There's a law of cause and effect. We've heard that. There's a law of compensation. There's a law of attraction. We've heard that. I've been through that a few times. There's a law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Right? There's a law of relativity. We've heard that. There's a law of polarity. There's a law of rhythm, is what I'm going to talk about today. And there's a law of gender. And so again, wherever you go, these laws will be in effect. And I don't know why I started with the law of rhythm, but that one jumped out. So here we go. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. And then rhythm compensates. There's a channel message that I want to read. I couldn't say it any better, so I'm okay with reading this one. And it says, on behalf of the light within each person who reads this message, so I read it to you, I greet you from the heart of Sananda. Right? We know that is another name for Jesus, right? Sananda. It is I, El Moria, here to transmit the next message on the law of rhythm. The universe moves in a cyclical fashion, with energy flowing one way and then the other. This movement is defined as the rhythm of the universe, and this rhythm is found in all things. It's called the law of rhythm. The principles underlying this law are defined as the movement of the in-breath and the out-breath of God. Life moves in cycles and is constantly renewing itself. From the highs and then from the lows. Next from within and then from without. These rhythms connect the two extremes revealed in the law of polarity. These rhythmic motions are what constitute the heartbeat and the pulse of life itself. The law of rhythm basically states that all things move in a cyclical fashion, like the pendulum swinging from the right and then to the left. The tide flows in and then the tide flows out. The sun rises and the sun sets. These rhythms constitute an order of renewal in the universe that can either be disruptive or pleasant. Depending upon how one wishes to perceive these rhythms.
Is that microphone on?
I'm on mute.
What about the TV? Anybody else in here has Does the TV have to be muted?
Mic check, mic check, mic check. I still hear it.
Is she muted? What about is it the computers that?
So my computer's muted and
Okay.
my Zoom is muted. Maybe I should get out of Zoom altogether.
Pamela, can you hear us?
No, she can't hear. I am going to. I don't think I need to be in Zoom. Let's see. Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, did I hit the wrong button? Yeah, I did.
Still muted, hang on.
Technology, I love it and I hate it.
That's what I call the Technado.
Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Is that good over there?
Can you hear me, Pam?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, here we go. We're talking about the law of rhythm. Again, the law basically states that all things move in a cyclical fashion, like the pendulum going from right to left. These rhythms come to an order of renewal in the universe, can either be disruptive or pleasant, depending on how one wishes to perceive these rhythms. Like the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane also have rhythms. Thus, individuals witness mood shifts, states of mental imbalance. These periods constitute some of the most difficult times that people experience, for the extremes drain individuals of precious energy and serve to lessen the mastery they command over their own mental and emotional bodies. For every high, there shall be a low. This is the law of rhythm. This is the only law an individual cannot learn to control. The only way in which we can command mastery over it is through mastering our own emotional and mental states at all times. Doing so, one is able to rise above the law. Those who thoroughly enjoy life and are filled with excitement must also experience the extreme lows. For as the pendulum swings from the right and back to the left, the opposite event or experience must be brought to them. Once the individual tires of the laws, the soul is open to learn new ways to govern specific behavior patterns. This begins the process which leads to the lessening of the extreme depressions that intrude in one's life. So we're going to be able to control our emotions since we can't control the rhythm itself, right? So the way I put that is, I'm never really excited to the extreme, and I'm never really sad to the extreme. Because again, the further you go on the extreme is the further you have to come back. There's no way to get around that, right? So that's why balance is important. Balance is, you're never going to stay in the center, but the closer the center is, the less your emotional highs and lows are, right? And so that's the part that you can control, is your response to these events, right? You can't control the events, and again, so if there's the potential for good, there's a potential for, I hate to say the word evil, but one can't go without the other one. Night can't go without day, right? And so we're going to be able to have to control our emotional responses to things, no matter what they are. right? No matter who's in charge, right? No matter who's not in charge, it's still up to us, because that's just an event. Everything, we must look at it, everything is an event. And the way we respond to it is how we can control the things that really happen around us or happen through us. Because we can only control the things that move through us. And everybody is doing that, controlling the things they move through them, depending on how happy they are or how sad they are, right? Again, for the people that are playing the game and are so excited, you know, there's that potential to be just as low. Say you lose, right? But losing isn't a negative thing. And being that far down is a negative thing. It's also that the further down you are, the higher you can jump, right? Like when you're so low and so down, there's also the opportunity to move from that depth just as much to the other side. So being down isn't a bad thing, right? We don't want to look at any of that as being a negative thing. Everything we can work through, switching it to a positive fashion, right? Because again, this law is going to go, the law of rhythm is going to go, right? And then we're going to just stay in our space as best we can and try to stay balanced, right? The way in which one escapes from the effects of the law is to rise above it. That means that the only escape is to control the mental and emotional bodies at all times and to govern the extreme mood shifts that interfere with one's path. The individual learns to walk the center of the road, never getting too excited or allowing negative things to penetrate his or her consciousness. Masters know that all is energy and that this precious life force is given to each to manage and use wisely for manifesting God's plan on earth. And that's God with a capital G. I'll have to explain that one of these days. Since energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, it must be transmuted. The law of rhythm teaches a way in which to transmute energy and manage the extreme rhythms in life. The key to transmuting the effects of the law of rhythm is through the strength of the will. By applying one's will to manage reactions toward events in life, the individual can learn to detach emotionally from all experiences. Willpower can be used to prevent the individual from getting too excited when events occur that serve only to steal the energy under the guise of enthusiasm. When the highs are controlled, the swing of the pendulum will not be so extreme. Therefore, the polarized event that will come to the individual will be of a lesser negative quality and will be easier to accept, right? Just like I was saying. To be successful at raising above the law of rhythm and detaching emotionally, the initiate must learn to walk the middle of the path at all times. This is the road to mastery. If you have been able to accomplish this in the past, however, which is why there are so few have ascended from the earth plane. The time has come for more to make this journey and to move into the light bodies and to sit at the right hand of the Father, Mother, Creator. Those who master the law of rhythm will surely be among those who have seats reserved for this gathering. This law separates the masters from the initiates, the leaders from the followers. It is the turning point towards spirit and the step away from the material world of the third dimension. Learn it well, dear children of the command, for to understand it grants you your ticket to the stars. So in a nutshell, right, summarizing this, the universe moves in cyclical fashion with energy moving one way and then the other. No way around that. This rhythm is found in all things and is known as the law of rhythm. Individuals experience mood shifts and mental imbalance as a negative cycle or rhythm is experienced. One can overcome the law of mastering his or her emotional states at all times. Again, we're in control of everything happening to us or through us, as we like to say. The individual overcomes or transmutes negative cycles by walking the center road or remaining calm and centered. It's a willpower which allows us to master our emotional, mental states and to remain centered. So that's the law of rhythm. Again, we're always in control, right? And if we're not in control, we cannot blame it on anybody else but ourselves, right? So we're like, or we're almost like, I want to say going with the flow, because you do want to go with the flow, right? You don't want to swim upstream. But in going with the flow, then you control where you're going by how you react to certain things. Most people are swimming upstream. I hate this, I hate that, but again, it's like you let go and let God, you go with the flow, but then you still have your rudder of your emotional, how you react to things, how you look at things, how you look at other people, right? All that constitutes what happens to you, right? Or what happens, I like to say, through you. Because everything happens through you. You ingest something, you say it's right or wrong, it's tall or short, it's good or bad, and then things happen to you because of your thoughts. That's why it's always good to observe, right? And we've been doing this so long, it's hard for me to observe, because sometimes I look at people and I may call them short, or I may call them tall, right? That's not observing. I'm kind of making a judgment, right, based on something I know or something like that. So it's subtle little things like this that we can control all day, every day. But it takes practice. I'm still practicing. I'm not as off as I used to be, right? But it still happens, right? Because, again, we say people are one color or another color. Again, that's another judgment, really. So once we can, that's what is good about the Buddhists and their teachings is we're just gonna monitor. We're just gonna observe. We're not gonna say it's right or wrong, no matter what it is, no matter what you see, no matter who you see in somebody's life or not, right? Because then we tend to say, oh, you're a killer, or again, we're making these judgments. And so it's always good to observe. And as you observe from this center point, then your life is so much better, so much easier, it's so much less traumatic, it's so much less emotional. They're just events, right? And I'm just gonna watch it, right? And at times I may say, what is it for me to learn from that? Right? What can I learn from that? What lesson is it in there for me? Right? So I'm gonna switch all that stuff into a positive perspective for me. And then things will go a better way. And then you won't go from right to left, from right to left, and then wonder why somebody's doing that to me. All right? Nobody's doing that to you. You're observing, or how do they say that? When you start looking at things, you're actually making changes to that thing. Right? By just looking at things, you're actually affecting that thing. And so the more that you just observe, then you don't affect those things. I'm sure we just affect, because we're all attached, tied, by just looking at stuff. Because we're all in this together, all creating in the bubble together, right? So it is good just to just to observe. Like you come up to the, I did this morning. I pulled up to the stoplight off the 35 exit, and there was a homeless guy there. I say homeless now, but when I pulled up to it, I didn't care who you were, right? I didn't put a name on it, and this is something I practice all the time. I didn't put a name to him, right? Because I don't know what got them there. I don't know if they're there temporarily. I don't know if they got a Porsche over there and parked it, then walked over here with a sign, right? I don't know. And so I pass no judgment. And so these are the things I practice. You can practice all the time, every day, right? No judgment. And so I got no baggage from that. Once I said I have no judgment, right? Finally, all I would say is that person is a piece of the Creator. And then I'm out of there, right? That's my only judgment, right? I got a piece of Creator. You got a piece of Creator. Okay, cool. Light turn. I'm out. I take no baggage from that. So that's things we just got to practice over and over with almost everything, right? I've seen it where people were so mad at something that happened or something that didn't happen. They were mad because this may happen. They were so upset, right? And I just said, the sun is going to come up tomorrow, right? Right? The moon is going to come up, right? Nobody, so these little small things are minor. To me, they're all distractions to get you away from looking inside and seeing your godliness and all that kind of stuff. I look outside, I make judgments so I don't have to take responsibility, kind of, right? And so I'm going to leave that with you guys, the law of rhythm. I'll go through these as much as I can the next few weeks. Sometimes I may do 2 at a time, depending. But again, these laws, as long as we know what they are, as long as we're aware of what they are, then we can understand how you can turn water into wine. Because all that was natural law. None of that was magic. But as long as you know how the laws work, then it'll present itself to you. Hey, this is how they did that, okay? And I'll leave that with you guys. All right. Thank you all for showing up. Hello, Mrs. Jordan.